Mr. O'Rourke, you've been a hot topic on the show. You did a Vanity Fair cover to announce your campaign, and you said you were, quote, born to be in it. You went across the country alone on a road trip after you lost your election, and you said you, quote, sometimes help raise your kids. These are things in my mind that a female candidate wouldn't be able to get away with. Do you think you can get away with more because you're a man? And do you have any regrets about launching on the cover of Vanity Fair?
You're right. There are things that I have been privileged to do in my life that others cannot. And I think the more that I travel and listen to people and learn from them, the clearer that becomes to me. When women in this country are paid 80 cents on the dollar that a man makes, African American women 61 cents, Latinas 53 cents. When you have 10 times the wealth in white America than you do in black America, when you have the largest prison population on the face of the planet, and it's disproportionately comprised of people of color, the systematic foundational discrimination that we have in this country in every aspect of life is something that I have not experienced in my lifetime. And I've had advantages that others could not enjoy. So being aware of that, and then doing everything in my power to help correct that, working with others, ratifying the Equal Rights Amendment, for example, so that it is beyond the shadow of a doubt that women will be treated equally in this country. Staring in the face the legacy of slavery and segregation and Jim Crow and continued suppression in our economy, in our democracy, in our system of justice, it's the only way that you begin the work of repair and stop visiting those injustices on the generations that follow. So yes, we have our work cut out for us in this country. I have my work cut out for me to be a better person and ensure that I'm more mindful to the experiences that others have had, different than the experiences that I've had.
You regret the Vanity Fair cover.
Are those mistakes? Would you say those are mistakes? Being on the cover of Vanity Fair?
Yeah, so Megan,
it looks elitist? What?
I think it reinforces that perception of privilege. And that headline that said I was born to be in this, in the article was attempting to say that I felt that my calling was in public service. No one is born to be president of the United States of America, least of all me.
What about the part-time dad thing?
Yeah, so listen.
You got some flack for that one.
Absolutely, and I deserved it.
What did your wife say? I'm sure your wife wasn't thrilled.
So listen, in a real ham-handed way, I was trying to acknowledge that she has a lion's share of the responsibility during this campaign.
As most women do.
That's right. And not only does she work, she is the principal caregiver to our kids, right. Is supporting me, campaigns with me as she just did in New Hampshire this last weekend, and trying to acknowledge that by saying she's raising our kids, sometimes with my help. I called Amy after I got that criticism. I said, tell me, am I saying this wrong? And she said, I know what you're trying to say, and I really appreciate where you're coming from. But the way in which you said it sounds flip. Yeah. It minimizes what I'm doing and, frankly, what a lot of other women in this country are doing. So you need to rethink this and say this differently. Right. So listen, I have a lot to learn and still am, and I'm learning from the best.
Said that very nicely.
That's right.
Yeah. Nicer than she would.
Right.
Well, let me ask you one more thing before we go to break.
You're not married to Megan and
No.
Yeah.
So Trump hasn't come up with a nickname for you yet.
Oh, yeah, he does. Crazy Hands. He calls them Crazy Hands.
Crazy Hands.
Right.
Oh, that's nothing. What is that?
Yeah.
That's nothing. But he'll get worse. He's a nasty, nasty man.
Right.
Are you going to go down deep with him, or are you going to go on that level, or are you going to rise above it?
Listen.
When they go low, do you go high, or do you get high? What is it?
Do you use your hands more? What is it?
To be clear, no to the last question that you asked.
All right.
Listen.
Not that there's anything wrong with it anymore. No.
Calling Mexican immigrants rapists and criminals, asylum seekers an infestation, Klansmen and Nazis very fine people, conflating Ilhan Omar, duly elected Muslim representative from Minnesota, with the attackers of 9/11. Not only does this stuff offend our sensibilities and sound un-American, but it's changing this country. Hate crimes on the rise every one of the last 3 years. The day that he signs his Muslim ban in 2017, the mosque in Victoria, Texas, burned to the ground. So we cannot descend into more of that division and bitterness and hatred and racism that so defines that man and his presidency. We've got to elevate this conversation around our ambitions, the service and the sacrifice. for
Okay.
women.
What nickname would you give him?
Yeah.
We
I don't have a
Wait,
nickname.
hold on.
Yeah.
Don't answer anymore. Don't say another thing.